Let's do it.
Okay, so volume 2 of season 4 of Stranger Things is out, and we watched it. and
Needless to say, this video is gonna have spoilers in it.
spoilers ahead.
You
Yes,
need to put like a big flashing
massive
text.
spoilers.
Spoilers. But now that we said that,
I
Eddie.
yeah, right off the bat, Eddie. I had to I said this to you after because we both watched it at the same time. This is the most I had to process an episode of the show. I had to literally take a step back and think about what I just saw.
After watching the last episode, I stood up and paced back and forth around my room for probably 5 minutes, and then just stood there staring out my window.
Yeah.
For another 10.
I feel weird doing what we did for our volume 1 discussion in terms of a rundown, because it's just so what the heck.
These last 2 episodes were, they're probably crazier than all 7 of the other episodes. Okay, I don't want to skip through everything to the end. But the fact that Hawkins literally opened up and now it's basically a giant portal to the Upside Down. What?
So basically, these 2 episodes kind of work really well as one piece of story, because it's all leading up to them fighting Vecna. So all the different storylines, they connect. Russia, Hopper, and Joyce are reunited. These 2 episodes have a lot of, and I really appreciate these moments, these small character moments between any 2 giving characters. There's a scene in episode 9 in Russia where Hopper and Joyce are talking about their date that they have, and Joyce is like, oh, we still have a date to go on, and then Hopper is talking about the food that he's gonna order and stuff like that. He's just he's just really excited about that.
Bro, I've been in Russian prison eating stale bread and water soup for the past however many months. Been yes, food.
So they're in Russia still, and they have a way to escape, but they find out just a little piece of what's happening in Hawkins and what is happening with 11. They decide to go back into the prison because all the monsters are a hive mind. So if they kill the monsters, then they could theoretically give 11 and the kids in Hawkins an upper hand in the situation. So they do that. I was caught so off guard when it happened, but Hopper fighting the Demogorgon with a sword.
Oh my gosh, bro. That was one of the most epic moments in the actual episode.
Yeah.
Even though it was on such a small scale, but
he cut off the arm and decapitated it.
But yeah, it was so epic.
It's
such an unneeded detail and a series of events, but it was so worth it.
There were a lot of things. And by the way, we're very scattered after those 2 episodes, but there were a lot of things that we predicted that came true. And the last 2 theory videos that we made are our most viewed and liked and commented on videos on the channel.
Oh my gosh.
So
I almost forgot. Yo.
So much trauma that we have these last 2 episodes that we're like, oh yeah, that.
I don't want to be drawing attention to it, but thank you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if
that's really awesome.
It was specifically one or 2 people that just shared it with
with 20,000 people.
With 20,000 people, but
or something, 19.
Thanks guys. Season 4 is over, and we'll end up talking about it a little bit more, but we're not gonna milk the heck out of it. And we'll eventually start talking about season 5.
Yeah.
And
once we get substantial stuff,
really early theorizing, and then we'll get on that.
Maybe just follow the same pattern as the season 4 videos, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyways, with the Russia storyline, a lot of stuff that we predicted came true, with Joyce getting her sort of redemption kind of sounds wrong because she didn't really do anything wrong, but she got her hero moment to prevent a similar death to Bob. Really cool to see.
And oh man, we totally call it, and the flashback too. It was like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Surprisingly, or to my surprise at least, we didn't lose anybody in the Russia storyline, which was cool to see. Because I was for sure going into these last two
yeah.
episodes like everybody's gonna die.
Oh my gosh,
We're
they're
gonna
so
lose
clutched up.
everybody. Yeah. Oh
How
my
did they
gosh.
manage that? And
I don't even know.
and they even got back too.
They got
I
back
was
in
not expecting
in
them to get
in
back.
what, like 2
I
days?
assume they must have had to have stopped somewhere, I
Maybe
guess,
they stopped
for
at like
fuel or
Alaska or
something.
something, but I guess it I guess it doesn't even matter. It's not that's not
It
that's
doesn't
probably
matter.
not something that they're gonna look back on in season 5. Like, ah,
I guess.
yes, how we got home. 11 slash Surfer Boy Pizza California gang story.
So 11 gets her powers back, kind of argues with Brenner and Dr. Well, she doesn't really argue with Dr. Owens, but Dr.
Yeah,
Owens and Dr. Brenner kind of argue with each other like almost like parents. Like, so
yeah, she's ready to go back. No, she's not.
you can't make this life decisions for her. And then Brenner's like, yes, I can.
Yeah, I can.
I'm her papa.
Papa.
Brenner totally double crosses
Yeah,
everyone. I don't know if that was unforeseen for me, but it was like I
it
was not
was.
expecting it. But after it happened, I was like, "Oh, come
Yeah.
on!"
One thing that was a loose end that I was kind of surprised that we didn't get to see is we didn't really get any closure on Dr. Owens because he was just
Yeah,
kind of like handcuffed to like a pole. I mean, that's definitely going to be season 5 stuff. So like that, the Dover brothers have said that like seasons 4 and 5 are kind of like one unit in terms of like the
they're just
story.
volume 1 and 2 of season 4 again.
Basically, yeah. I was surprised. I was a little bit surprised about that, but that's kind of just where we leave off with Doctor Owens. He's like, "Promise me you won't kill her," to Colonel Sullivan, and he's like, "You take the shot," pretty much,
He's like,
which is kind
"I
of
do
funny.
not care."
I just because it just reminds me of just like the really stupid, like, "Take the shot." And, like, it's not funny, but it just
Take the
is kind of
shot.
funny. Take the shot! I don't know, man. Something's wrong. Take the shot! Do we get like a redeeming moment from Brenner? Like, did he redeem himself, or was it kind of felt like a half and half, where
I
like
feel like we got
it felt more so like closure to me than like redemption? But it kind
I
of had the
feel
feel.
I feel like for him it was kind of redemption, but for the rest of us it was just kind of closure. It's kind of hard to say because you could see it either way based on how easy you are on him, you
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Like you could see it as like, oh yeah, I mean he's kind of crazy and he was literally planning on just like forcing 11 to be there for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe it was for her own good and everybody else's own good, but like come on, have a sense of urgency, my guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but
Just, like to imagine those words coming out of Mike's mouth. Have a sense of urgency, my guy.
oh my god.
That's what Mike sounds like.
That's the mic voice
That's
we
our
came up with.
canon Mike voice, yeah.
Completely canon. Maybe he was trying to do the right thing, but in the end it was kind of just closure for
Yeah.
Brenner and that kind of side of the story, if you can call it
That's
that.
just been kind of hanging around. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I was a little bit surprised that we didn't get like a single flashback to like anything of like where he's been, because I was fully expecting that to be in this episode or episode
Yeah.
8. I mean, for what it is, it's fine. We can just assume that he survived and that like a soldier in the school shot the Demogorgon. He got away and he just was kind of hanging around building up this silo thing with like Owens or maybe not building it up, and maybe like I don't know what the timeline would be. Maybe like after the event of season 3 or before, during, like he got in contact with Owens or something like that. Like I assume that's what we're supposed to believe, but I was a little bit surprised that we didn't get like anything of like this is what happened, like this is how he survived. But
I would have liked to see how he survived that.
we get like the closure with Brenner. The Surfer Boy Pizza Gang shows up and rescues 11 after she throws the helicopter to the ground, and
like a boss.
and then she's just with the Surfer Boy Pizza Gang at that point. Before that, they're just kind of finding 11, and they find her, and then their stories combine. Will really went through a whole unspoken character arc this season. Like it was
Oh
completely
my gosh.
unspoken, but he went through like an implied arc.
Will did so much but nothing at the same time. That's actually really funny because not completely nothing was said about Will or any of his struggles.
Yeah,
But
it's just
he
implied
like he progressed so far through all that without just
without
nothing
saying
said,
a
not a single
word.
thing said about it.
That's kind of impressive.
That is kind of impressive. Good job, Duffer
um,
Brothers.
Elle needs you, Mike, and she always will.
Yeah?
basically, our predictions of what the plan would be for the Hawkins gang were right. So, that includes Steve, Nancy, and Robin going to fight Vecna head on in the upside down version of the Creel House. Lucas, Erica, and Max being in the right side up version of the Creel House, using Max as bait for Vecna. And Dustin and Eddie drawing away the bats from the Creel House, which was all really awesome to see. I super loved the whole Master of Puppets sequence. I really I was like straight up whenever he was just like, Chrissy, this one's for you, and he started playing, I was like, oh my gosh, like it was so cool.
Chrissy, this is from you.
I just love how everything was cut together and stuff like that. It was really great. Like, for example, he sees the guitar, he's like, oh, it's like she was like built for an alternate dimension or something like that. And you see it and you're like, oh, it was just awesome. It was just awesome.
It was pure awesomeness.
Most metal!
Jason, his whole side in these last two episodes was pretty interesting. Straight up showing up to the grill house with a gun, threatening to shoot Lucas.
I called that he was going to be a psychopath. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. He literally snapped. Like you could see it in his eyes.
He snapped.
he always snapped.
I'm surprised that he brought a gun with him.
Yeah.
But I mean, he kind of just went on a downward spiral.
He said something about Chrissy, and he was like,
"Oh yeah," he said Lucas was like literally not even trying to provoke anything. He was like, she was buying drugs from Eddie, because that's the truth.
Yeah.
And Jason, full of himself in his own psychotic mind, was
living in his own TV show as the main character.
He really thought he was the main character, bro. And he was like, no, Chrissy would never do that. Lucas literally explained the whole entire thing to him, and he was still like, no, Chrissy wouldn't do that. She's like perfect. But yeah.
Also, I want to point out that Jason missed with literally the easiest shot of his life. Lucas was in front of him, and he ducked, and he missed. I mean, good that he missed. I'm not like, oh, come on, he missed, but like, for how cool he thought he was. Like, you suck. I really did like the concept of 11 piggybacking from the Surfer Boy pizza shop in Nevada. I thought that was a really cool idea, because like, I just assumed that they were going to make it back to Hawkins in impossible time, and that I would just be like, 11's here, quick, do the thing, and then she just did it. But I did like how they're like, okay, we can't make it back. We have to do this in the most makeshift way possible. And I really love how just down Argyle was for the whole thing. Like at one point, I think he was like, this mind fight is so on, or something like that. Like he was so down.
Yeah, Argyle says what everybody's thinking.
Mind fight. Righteous.
A bathtub would help.
Yeah. Gotta be clean to enter the mind.
Yeah, I really like the concept of 11 piggybacking in the Surfer Boy pizza shop, just because it kind of like, it gave her a way to fight without just being impossible. Like if she made it back to Hawkins, I either way I would have been like, well, doesn't matter, it's impossible. Everything that's happening right now is impossible. Why would I be like, but they couldn't make it back in time? But yeah, she fights from the pizza dough thing. And real quick, both episodes 8 and 9, they have and I mentioned this earlier, but they have such good like character moments. Like I love this scene between Jonathan and Will, where they're like talking about like, or Jonathan, well, both of them, yeah, they're talking about like being there for each other and stuff like that. I really love the scenes like that, and just that scene in particular. It was just really well acted and stuff like that. I
There
don't
was a
know.
lot of heartfelt scenes
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
amongst all the chaos.
And I love you. There is nothing in this world, absolutely nothing, that will ever change that.
So Eleven's fighting Vecna in Max's mind, which I also really love how, one, she did that, and two, I really like the concept of Max being able to like hide in a memory, because she was just kind of like chilling out
Yeah, that was
Snowball for a second.
genius.
Vecna's going after Max, and Max is evading him for a little while. He gets close to killing her, but 11 comes in and drops that classic 11 hi before just throwing him the frick into some
Hi.
bleachers.
I piggybacked from a pizza dough freezer. What?
And also, Steve apparently fell down the stairs as a baby. Like, Steve.
It explains so much.
Maybe it explains his, like, unkillableness. Like, you survived that. He's good. So, you know, they go to the Creel house. They get, like, choked and pulled up against a wall by all these tentacles for a very long time, for what I remember. I remember it cutting back to them at a certain point. I was like, they're still here? Like, they're, like, choked out for a very, very long time.
It felt like even longer based on the fact that it switched to like the Russia storyline.
Yeah,
for probably,
yeah.
what, at
Like-
least 10 minutes.
Yeah,
or
and then
something.
it felt so long, and I was like, either this is all in real time, this is like either 30 seconds, or like,
it was probably really, really short.
yeah,
in
but
real
just
time.
elongated for the sake of drama.
But just for the fact that they have to catch up the other storylines
Yeah.
to make them all happen at once.
Their plan starts to go horribly wrong. You know, Vecna is just ragdolling 11, basically, like throwing her into walls, and as her dude tied up in the tentacle vine things, and like he has Max, and he's giving a dramatic monologue about how he found the mind flayer. He was an explorer, and he did something. I don't know.
Honestly, though, the scenes of him in the Upside Down were really cool.
Yeah,
Like I kind of want to watch back the scenes of the Upside Down before it was like
Hawkins
the Upside Down
and
we
stuff.
know.
Yeah. He's explaining the stuff about the mind flayer, or just what we know as the mind flayer. Just explaining all his motives about like basically just transcending humans, and humans suck, and the world's awful, and all that.
Don't make no sense.
Eddie and Dustin goes back through the gate in the trailer, and Eddie cuts the bedsheet rope and gets on the bike and tries to buy more time for the bats. It's just, you know,
Why would he cut the bedsheet rope?
that's happening, and then Vecna is, you know, he has Max in his grasp. Eddie is like standing his ground against the bats, having an awesome hero moment. Steve, Nancy, and Robin are still getting choked, unfortunately. And Mike and the Surfer Boy Pizza Gang, but mainly Mike. I mean, it was. You could say the scene's cheesy, and sure, it's cheesy or whatever, but I liked the moment where he finally said that he loved 11, and he was like, you have to fight, you know, and stuff like that. I don't know, it just...
He finally came to his senses, and what isn't stupid?
Unfortunately, Max gets Vecna'd, and you know, she floats, and her arms and legs snap, and then her eyes, and then it's just so upsetting, and just
I was like bargaining with myself, like, okay, she can get past one broken arm.
Yeah. And then,
Okay, 2 broken limbs aren't that bad.
It's like, okay, what I hate about this is that they really did Lucas and Max's relationship this whole season super well, with them like starting off, you know, broken up, and then slowly coming back together over the course of a couple episodes, you know, realizing that they love each other and stuff like that. And like, I like the little moments that they had, like, again, just character moments, like in episode 8 when they're in the RV, Max is talking about, like, she's like, okay, if anything goes wrong or whatever, I'm just gonna hide in like a happy memory. And then Lucas is like, well, like, am I there? And she's like, that's presumptuous of you, which is a callback to season 2. That, like, just little moments like that, which like kind of build up the relationship as you're watching. And then like the moment where they're like writing in the little note cards or whatever, the papers, because they can't talk or else Spectre will hear them. And then Lucas is like, movie Friday. I was like, that's the seal. that's
like,
the seal of death or something horrible
I
happening
was
right
like,
there.
she's gonna die, bruh. Stop with that.
That's the seal of death.
Lead to something bad.
But that happens to her, and it's so just like it's truthfully with like Caleb McLaughlin's performance. It's truthfully just like gut wrenching. Like watching him like react to this, it was so like sad and heartbreaking to watch. And on top of that, okay, I really want to talk about these two sad moments, so I'm just gonna get this out of the way. That Nancy, Steve, and Robin burn Vecna and knock him out of the window, and he falls out of the attic, and he's like taken out. He's greatly injured. I can only imagine.
It was too easy. They couldn't have just beat him like that.
He was gone whenever they went back to see if he was there. He was just gone. Which, okay, two things. If at that point, if I like burned him and shot him and he fell out of that attic and I went down to like the porch and he wasn't there, I'm running through the woods of the Upside Down trying to find this man and kill him for real. He's on fire, which means that you can probably see him from a mile away.
Yeah.
Like, I would have not settled for, I guess we maybe killed him. But to their defense, the Upside Down did kind of just open the frick up really like randomly and out of nowhere. So I guess, that was quite the shock. Yeah, anyways, that happens and that's how that ends off. But I just really want to get to these two moments. One, the Max quote unquote death, because she died, but then she got brought back, but she pretty much died. That whole scene with like Lucas's reaction and Sheila's literally like, I can't see or feel anything, like I don't want to die and stuff like that. I was crying. Oh my gosh. Sobbing.
Stay with me, Max. Hang on, just hang on. I forgot.
Getting to Eddie's death. Eddie's death is so frustrating because we all knew he was gonna die, yet I was like, and I know it's because I'm just an emotional baby when I watch this show, but like I was like sobbing.
If everybody just had a slight bit more urgency
and just a little bit, yeah. But like, it's weird because he's a one season character, but he was so likable to the where I was literally just like crying during this scene.
I know he was only there for one season, but I was more sad about his death than Max's quote unquote death.
Max like dies for a second, and then 11 brings her back. So while the scene and how it's acted out is devastating and it's sad, it's kind of taken. I don't want to say it loses the like dramatic effect, but like she's brought back, so you're like, wait, hold on a second, she's alive. Eddie's death scene was, again, I don't know if it's just because I really liked him as a character. I mean, that's definitely it. But like, it was like, but like, it was like one of the saddest scenes, like death scenes in the show. A couple things. One, it's sad because Gaten Matarazzo, like, he absolutely killed me in this scene. Their exchange of like, Eddie, like, I didn't run away this time, and like down to the point where he's like, I love you, man, and he's like, I love you too, and it's like it was the saddest scene in like one of the saddest scenes.
Saddest death in all of Stranger Things.
I love you, man.
Come on. Eddie!
I swear, if they do this again,
they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it again.
I'm not gonna get attached to any characters anymore.
For me, that felt like they wanted to kill Dustin's like big brother role model character without killing Steve, which like I'm cool with, but not cool with, because either way it's lose-lose, because it either means that Steve dies or Eddie would have died, and Eddie died, and I'm not okay with that. But then it would have meant that Steve died, and I wouldn't have been okay with that either. So
I just feel like they could have made a great new season without having to kill Eddie.
And the song "When It's Cold, I Like to Die" really just again broke me to just ugly crying.
I think it's my year, Anderson. I think it's finally my year.
The Upside Down just opens from the 4 gates of the 4 people that were killed, and Jason gets split in half. They really just
Oh my
like
God. They glossed over that so hard. It was probably like a second long just
Shot of him.
shot of Jason going, "Ah!"
They really had nowhere else for Jason to go, which I'm completely cool with. So they were just like split him in half. Boom.
I mean, honestly, what else could Jason have done?
Okay,
Like he needs to go to
true.
Penhurst or something.
True,
Like,
and two, I pointed this out to going into it to you. I said like, if they kill Eddie and then let Jason just live, I'm gonna be really mad. And they killed both, so they
so
heard me.
still mad.
Still mad, but at least Jason didn't live. Sorry, Jason. Not really, but Hawkins is just one big portal to the Upside Down now. Jump 2 days later after 11 revives Max, and in this ending scene, this last 30-ish minutes, there are things that I really love, and there are things that I'm kind of on the fence about. A couple things. It's weird. There are a couple things that I don't know if they're going to specifically leave this for season 5, but or just not mention it at all. But there are a couple things that I wish we could have seen. For instance, they aside from Eddie's full-on death scene, I kind of wish we would have gotten a moment where Steve, Nancy, and Robin are going back to the trailer, and then they see Dustin, and it kind of just sets up that oh no, no, something went horribly wrong, and Eddie didn't make it. After his death scene, they also kind of gloss over it until the scene with Dustin and Eddie's uncle. From the main characters, I mean, they don't really acknowledge it, especially to Mike, because he was in Hellfire. It was kind of I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. Anyways, everybody reunites. The California gang shows up to the Wheeler house where Dustin, Steve, and Robin are getting ready to donate just a bunch of random stuff because of everything that's happening, as everybody thinks that the massive portal opening across the whole town is an earthquake.
Yeah, then they go to the school. And then this super sad scene again of Dustin talking to Eddie's uncle, telling him that he was a hero.
He never stopped being Eddie.
He never stopped being Eddie.
He isn't just innocent, Mr. Munson. He's a hero.
Then we get this not so heartfelt scene between Jonathan and Nancy.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm on the fence about, is that I really wish they would have resolved their relationship drama instead of having it be a thing that's going into season 5. It's we really didn't need them. I really wish that they either would have broken up or realized that they are good together or something, or Jonathan would have come clean about the acceptance letter and how he doesn't want to
truthful.
That's one thing that I was kind of okay, we didn't really need this to be because that means that in season 5 that's going to be a plot, a side plot, which kind of bothers me, because I would so much rather either they just cut off their relationship at the end of the season, or just realize that they're fine, or just whatever. But I don't know. That was just one thing.
Then an unmarked car pulls up. Wouldn't you guess it? It's the Russia squad. Everybody from the Russia squad, actually. They brought over...
Well, they brought over everybody, but it was just Hopper and Joyce, though.
Yeah, what the heck? What?
That's another thing that I'm kind of on the fence about, but let's just count out the...
Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we finally get the reunion between Hopper and 11, and it's almost like 11 was expecting that, which nobody knew that Hopper was still alive. I don't think, right?
No, they all thought he was. They said that they had a funeral for him.
Get another heartfelt once again scene with Hopper and 11, and everybody reuniting. And Joyce is back, and everybody's back, and everybody's happy. After that heartfelt scene,
Will gets his spider sense thingy.
Will gets the tingle.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the spider sense
This is my gift. My curse.
The upside down is just
It's in our
flooding
world.
into the right side up. That's how it ends.
That's Stranger Things 4. A very harrowing ending. Just like, oh shoot, and then it's just that's it. Now that we counted out that, I just wanna like quickly go over things that I'm kind of on the fence about. One, the Jonathan and Nancy thing, as I stated. Two, the Hopper reunion. I think it's more so like the reaction from like Mike and Jonathan and Will. Mike sees him and he goes like, "Hey." It's like a kind of an underwhelming reaction considering that like he quote unquote died. No, I did like the moment because they hugged and he was like, you know, like you grew, and Mike's like, yeah. I was like, oh, you shrunk, and like they hug. I did like that moment, but like
Yeah.
when I thought about it, I was like, he's been like. You thought he was like dead, and he's like super skinny now, and clearly is like not the same. It doesn't like he hardly looks like the same person from when he last saw him. And like it's just like, hey, like how's it going, man?
I liked the scene and everything, and it was nice to see them all reunited.
Yeah,
But it honestly felt kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that everybody just thought Hopper was dead, and there was no like questioning like what you're alive. It was just kind of like, oh, no big deal.
You're
You're
here.
finally back or something.
Yeah, like all like they knew or something.
Yeah, like they knew, like they were us. Like,
But like, yeah, right. But like nobody like Will, Jonathan, like nobody mentioned anything about Hopper beforehand of the season. I don't think. Like if they did, it was extremely passingly. But like
I don't even remember.
I don't remember them
anything
mentioning it.
about Hopper.
Like other than Joyce, of course, but like,
Yeah.
and it kind of felt underwhelming also in the sense that like the episode was already such an emotional roller coaster where there was literally like an hour-long portion of when the
Yeah.
first time I watched it of just like tears and crying and like intensity. So whenever it was brought down, it was kind of hard to bring it back up for this moment. But
Yeah.
I
And
did
it was
really
only like
like the
what,
moment.
5 minutes.
Yeah. It was like oddly the least like drawn out thing, which they by no means they did not need to draw it out.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny how like it was like a really like small moment considering the run times of the whole season.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I did really love the moment, but whenever I thought about it, I was like that kind of felt like not like like half rushed and half just like in terms of character reactions, it felt kind of rushed. Like they spent the right
Yeah.
amount of time that they needed to on it, but like with 11, like she was just like hi. Like didn't she just say hi? She was just like hi, and she was like crying, like as if like she knew, as if like he literally got arrested. And like he was like taken to Russian prison for like committing a crime, and like he was gone for a couple months, and then he came back. Like she knew he was alive. Like I don't know, like that just felt kind of weird to me. I still like the moment, but still that's just kind of my thing with it.
Yeah.
Other than that, the main other big thing that I'm kind of like again on the fence about is, do you think they should have killed Max, like for real?
Knowing how well they bring stuff from previous seasons into new seasons to explain something or just make you see it in a new light, I feel like there's something that's going to be done with Max
Yeah.
that this needed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, I don't see why Max didn't just die. I don't see why she I don't want to say stay dead, but like
Yeah, why she
she
got
did
revived?
die.
She died. Yeah, they
And
said like her heart stopped for like a minute or something like that.
yeah, and 11 can just revive people?
The reason why I feel like she should have for real died is also the reason why I think she shouldn't have for real died. Because on one hand, she had such a great character arc this season of like, you know, early season she was very, you know, depressed over like what happened with Billy and just what happened in season 3. And like it went from her being just really depressed over it and being, you know, cursed by Vecna, and like with her writing the letters and like reading the letter to Billy and like the whole Dear Billy sequence at that point, like that was like her way of saying goodbye, you know. So like she had basically like at that rate
Yeah.
accepted death. And then the running up that hill scene with her like running towards reality was her like choosing the power of friendship over all and just like, you know, choosing to go on. So like with the way that it was written, it was a really great just like character story and just arc. So for that reason, I'm like, no, they shouldn't have they shouldn't kill her for real, especially after she went through like her arc of like basically kind of accepting death and saying no and going on, because then that kind of makes it that kind of makes it anticlimactic and also like a lot sadder. But also that's also my reasoning for why they should kill her. It's a weird case of like why I think she shouldn't have died is why I think she should have, because like all that considered, it would have made it super tragic if even though she fought so hard to the end, if she just died, it would have made it a lot more tragic than what we got. I'm just kind of on the fence of that, of like, should they have done that? Should they have just killed the character, had a super tragic death?
My working theory is it's less of a question of should they have, it's more of a question of why they did. Because
Yeah.
I'm
That's
90%
like
sure
that.
that something's that there's a purpose for that.
Yeah.
Beyond just season 4.
I just need to see what they do with it in season 5, and we will in time, but that's just kind of where I stand with that. I mean, again, there's stuff that we've definitely missed, but it's late and this episode destroyed us.
2 hours.
That's season 4 of Stranger Things overall. I really just super enjoyed it, and it's just another solid
It made
entry.
me feel again.
Yeah, there's just another solid entry in the show's
Large
universe
repertoire of great seasons.
of greatness. Yeah, towards the end there were like some things that I had like a lot of questions about, but I can only assume that they'll be answered in season 5. So I don't think that it should be something to be like, well, what the heck, it's awful because I've seen some people already like kind of nitpicking the heck out of it. But yeah, I mean, that's Stranger Things season 4. It was quite the ride, quite the emotional roller coaster. Just everything building up to it, all the way back to July 4th, 2019, when season 3 came out, and we all Googled, when is Stranger Things season 4 coming out? Like, it's been quite the ride. The road has been long. Finally made it to the end.
Now it's time to look up when season 5's coming out.
Yeah.
I need like another week to process all this.
It's my year. I can feel it. 86, baby.